Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 87 podcast. 87 podcast. Um, we're looking at leadership and allergies, uh, diseases in Africa, allergic diseases in Africa. This is such a privilege and honor to be sharing the platform with Dr. Odusote. But before we go into that, we would just like to appreciate the sponsors of this podcast, Work Central NG. Work Central NG. It's a workspace virtual office situated in Lagos, Nigeria. They provide an enabling environment for SMEs to use their facilities, and they've been adding value for years now. So we want to appreciate Work Central NG for what they're doing. And so you can follow them on their website or also on Instagram and LinkedIn. So you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me in your program this morning.
Thank you so much.
Where are you? Right.
Yes, it could be afternoon, evening, or morning. Yes. Tell us, sir, who is Dr. Olatunde Odusote?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm proud to say I trained in Ibadan, the only medical school in Nigeria some years ago. So I'm also a pediatrician, and I actually trained as a pediatrician to start with. And during my training in pediatrics, I saw a gap in pediatric dermatologists because a lot of those conditions were treated by adult physicians. So I saw a gap, and I became the first Nigerian to train as pediatric dermatologist.
Wow.
And then during my journey in dermatology, I also saw a gap in allergy. I realized that we were in denial as a people. So that also got me thinking, and eventually I got trained some few years ago, maybe 5 years ago now, in South Africa as an allergist, probably the first West African or Nigerian to be trained as an allergist. And that in itself has actually put a burden of leadership on me in my journey to chart a course, as it were, for allergy in Africa. So that's been, in brief, that's who I am. And I can also say that I also started a society, the Allergy Society for Nigeria, which is called Allergy and Clinical Immunology Society for Nigeria, which is also a member of the World Allergy Organization. So I'm actually the current chairperson, founder and chairperson of society, also to drive the agenda of allergy in Nigeria with partnership across the globe.
Wow. Awesome, sir. Awesome. Congratulations. Now, this is a leadership podcast, and I've known you for many years, and I know you as a pastor. You have been a leader in so many ways, not just in your profession, but also in other areas. But I just wanted to speak briefly to what leadership is. What do you think leadership is, sir?
Sorry, I missed you there.
Yes, I said, what is leadership to you?
Well, for me, leadership is about creating space for other people to be who they are in the space you have influence. So it's like, for me, leadership is like you have been graced, you have been opportune to see some few direction in life or gaps in the economy, and then you have been graced, and then you now use your platform to enable other people to get that space and influence direction in whatever space you are in. For me, at least, I'm medically in medical field, and that's basically what I mean. I understand leadership. That's what I think. That's my own concept of leadership.
Awesome. Thank you for speaking to that. Now, I want you to speak to why we're here, allergic diseases in Africa. Can you just give us an overview and what your thoughts are?
Well, like I said, I will say to you, I actually stumbled on allergy by default. And basically what has happened, I said it started because I have a child struggling with allergy. So I found it was a major struggle to take away, even as a pediatrician and all that. I saw a lot of gaps. So I started researching, and I realized that even in Africa as a whole, even globally, since Second World War, the incidence of allergy is increasing. And for some strange reason, the Africans are lagging behind because we're actually in denial that allergy is the white man disease, which is not really true. So that is like the way I looked at it. So because of that gap, and because of the fact that we realized that we are sitting on a time bomb as a people, and there are no capacity to deal with the issues in Africa as of today. Let me give an example. Like South Africa, instead of asthma, in South Africa is not one of the highest in the world. It's not. But death from asthma in South Africa is higher than some countries that have lower rates. So that shows, if we look at other space in Africa, the story is probably similar. So in a nutshell, we are sitting on a time bomb, and we are not building capacity to address the need in the near future. And that's what I would say is the major burden and the major gap that we have to address. Let me just be funny but true. When I was in medical school, if you asked me a question in school, that the commonest African man, if I say to you is a jazz from his baby, right? But today, if I say the same thing, I will fail the exam. So that shows how far we have come with non-communicable disease, and we are not actually building capacity to address those issues. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Now, I just want you to speak to what do you think should be the way forward, even as a leader in that space of allergic diseases? What should a leader be doing now?
Well, I think the major thing, number one, is advocacy. What I mean by that is, especially with the political the governance in governance, to make sure that we say that this is an issue that we need to start dealing with. No, I would say we give to our leaders in medical space. We now understand non-communicable diseases to be a major problem. But see, we are not doing enough for allergy. They are doing enough for asthma, and for diabetes, for hypertension. We are doing well. But for allergy, we are not doing enough. So I think for me, the burden is advocacy. We engaging with people in leadership and say, okay, we need to start focusing on that. That's number one. Number two is building capacity across Africa. And fortunately for me, I've had some colleagues in Kenya, in South Africa, that we train about the same time, who share the same vision. So we are partnering together, like synergies. We need to also build capacity of medical physicians, other doctors, nurses, pharmacists, to understand the challenges we are facing and to do what we need to do. The other thing, so I've talked Aboski, I've talked Manpower, and then we also need to bring on the pharma companies. You see, the truth that they're in business, but the truth that they are not supporting the allergy in Africa. I've actually engaged with some of the pharmacy companies, I won't mention names, but the truth that they are not, access to medication is not as good as you want it to be. You can have all the knowledge, you can have all the advocacy. If you are not supported by the pharma company making available drugs that are accessible, that's available, the supply chain they're on top of the supply chain, then at the end of the day, you have not really done anything to improve quality of life of people with asthma in Africa.
Wow. This is so good. If you just joined us, we're looking at leadership and allergic diseases in Africa. And on the platform is Dr. Olatunde Odusote. Is an expert in the area of allergy and even in the area of being a pediatrician. Is worldly acclaimed and globally recognized. Thank you for coming on Leadership Talk with Adegoke, sir. Now, I want you to speak to, so how do you think capacity can be built even locally in Nigeria? I mean, I know you spoke to the fact that you just started the association in Nigeria and you are the inaugural chairman. How can we build capacity even for those who are coming into that space so that they can also add value?
So thank you very much. So the society, the whole aim of society is to improve training. And that's why we actually piggyback on the World Allergy Organization, because that's the parent body for all society in the world. And they are very supportive of that. So one of the things we're doing in a small way, we've hosted a couple of online training for doctors, for pharmacists, and we also did one for parents in June. And so that awareness to say, look at, we have this here. We need to empower people. Their mothers, our fathers, nurses, doctors. So we are doing that in a small space. But the thing that I'll tell you, all these things cost a lot of money. And so the thing is not there. So we're hopeful that we'll partner with other people. And I would say a few pharma companies have come on board to support us, but we're still
Awesome.
far from where we want to be. So the whole asset and the whole long-term goal is number one, and I've been talking to a few of my friends across the continent, is to
Yeah.
develop a program that we can, a certified program for doctors to be able to care for allergies at the primary care level, at the entry level, because the truth that the
Awesome.
body disease can be taken out level, a lot of those things. So we are looking at developing a curriculum for doctors that can even be virtual, and then some physical contact. Some centers have been accredited to do that.
Awesome.
So that's what we're doing now. So capacity building cannot be overemphasized. So we are looking at that, and hopefully we'll be able to, we know that we'll be able to succeed in that space. And then maybe training, hands-on training workshop, we also have that in the pipeline.
Awesome. Thank you. Well done. Now, I know that's from the perspective of practitioners. How about from the perspective of parents? Because I know that, for example, I know a relative that, is allergic to eating shrimps, Once he eats shrimps, he has goosebumps all over his body, How can we allay the fears of parents and also equip them, with knowledge? I mean, you, from where you sit, you have the privilege of knowledge and also contacts, and you are also on ground. How can we assist parents? I know you said you had a program sometime around June. How can they have access to practitioners like yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. I think one of the I'm happy to do this because it's also creating awareness within a small space. So,
Okay.
and I also think that you also talk about people having goosebumps. I would say that it is a common condition that I've actually seen in adults and children, and they can be miserable. That's true. So we hope that at least, recently I actually did an interview for Punch newspaper to also do create awareness. So we'll continue on that track. And the truth that we are very few people who are empowered to do this.
Okay.
So, but the truth is that we want to maybe use platform like this and that platform to say, look, you don't have to go out of the country to get services. We are not very many, but we are actually empowering people. I'll tell you a story of a person I see privately. I saw her privately. She went to England and paid good money, a lot of money. And to be honest, between me and you, she just wasted a lot of money doing nothing for a condition that's not so likely. So, and I told her, I wish I saw you before you went to England, because she pays close to £5,000. I said, if you, instead of paying £5,000, you are paying £1,000 to me, and I will do the same thing. I know that she was just laughing at me. But the truth is that she didn't know that we have the capacity in this country. So she went out of the country, and then she didn't get the optimal care. But I had to actually help her to solve her issues and educate her. So I would say that we are not where we want to be, but we'll continue to use platforms like this and our platform to educate people and say, okay, we have some people that can help you overcome some of the allergy conditions, and then interfere with governments to also increase advocacy. And a pharma company, I think the major focus apart from parents is pharma company to say, okay, you are a business, but we can partner with you to give access to people and to educate people, and then we can get to where we need to be as a people. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Now, for the listener, those who might be listening to this podcast, what are the common, allergies that that you can just share with us? Maybe a few.
Okay, see, I think people are familiar with asthma. Asthma is still very common in this environment, and I can say from my information, from ability to me, the way asthma is being cared for this country is suboptimal. So asthma is one. Allergic rhinitis is also another one, where people call it hay fever. People just sneeze and eat their nose. See, hay fever will not kill you, but it can make your life miserable in terms of your quality of life, quality of sleep, and all that. And that's the major problem. So we also have allergic rhinitis, where people just eat their eyes regularly. That's also, it might not, and some of them might lead to blindness, but more often than not, it's just a mystery. Then we have things like atopic dermatitis, where it's the allergy of the skin, and then food allergy is also there. And then the other condition that people talk about is chronic spontaneous urticaria, where people just break out in rashes, for no reason, and they each and each. But it's not like to kill them, but like to be made life miserable. So the other thing, like drug allergy, I can tell you that for free that some of the cases of people dying during surgery, some of them are attributed to allergy to drugs given during surgery. And
Wow.
areas that we need to also empower doctors, anesthetists, and all that to look out for, the thing to look out for to prevent such unnecessary death. So that's the kind of thing that we have. And then we have even people having allergy to food like shrimp. And in adults in Nigeria, I found with people like shellfish and fish, common allergy. But children will have milk, egg, peanuts. So are some of the groups of conditions that are likely to cause death. And the other thing is that anaphylaxis. Last year we did something for anaphylaxis for adults, for physicians, and even for parents on anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis is the severe form of allergy that can kill in seconds if not if you do the right thing. But you can be empowered, you can be educated to know what to do, and then you can prevent death.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. This is very, very, very much needed at this time, because when you speak to milk allergy, peanuts, shrimps, and these are the types of food that some people love so much, and even while they have to stay off it because they don't want to have a reaction, it can be quite challenging. But I know that we're still going to ask you, because we're conscious of the fact that you're a professional, and some of those things that are needed to be done you might not be able to share in detail. But for someone who might be listening to this podcast, who might have any allergy at all, is it, like you said, some would not necessarily lead to death, like a fever, but the discomforts can be very, very challenging. Can you just speak to anyone that you think might benefit from this podcast? How they can benefit from, or how they can tap into your wealth of knowledge. One or two things, even before they can have access to you. Just speak to them.
Okay, let me say number one, at least, medically speaking, I can't give all the information, but what I said to you, number one, make sure you talk to the right people.
Okay.
See, I will talk to the right people. And then number two is that if you're in doubt, consult your physician. But I can say this for free, that for hay fever in this environment, the commonest cause is house dust mite and cockroach, right? We don't have people with, we've done some studies with among the child population here. So, unfortunately for us, the pollings and all that is not, and we don't have a long polling season in Nigeria. So that grass and all that are not made. And then a lot of us, maybe next 10, 15 years, because we now have pets, dog and cats, but it's not a major problem here. So I'll say to you, if you have allergy, you can look at cockroach, and then there are basic drugs that is you can take. But again, so if you talk to right people, they can advise you. Like I said, we're trying to build capacity across. So if you are in doubt, a lot of the doctors now know that we have allergies around. If they are in doubt, they can call us. And like I said to people, everybody has a chat footprint. If you're in doubt, go online, just Google, and then reach out. I've had calls to consult for people and say, okay, do this. And if you're in doubt, see me. Either in government, I work in government, I also consult privately, and they can help. At least give some advice and all that, and see what we can do. But it's the truth that we are in a position to help, and we're willing to help, and we are willing to empower people to overcome their allergies.
Awesome. Thank you for what you're doing and your leadership, sir. We appreciate you, and we really value, what you're doing, because it takes being selfless and really being very deep to come up in this kind of environment and space. Because particularly when you have a situation where people have been overwhelmed, they've gone all over the place looking for help, because of the discomforts they go through. It's a breath of fresh air to hear from leaders like you, who are willing and available to provide the necessary support and help. It's quite refreshing, sir. So congratulations once again. Now,
Thank
I
you very
just
much.
have 2 or 3 more questions. Now, um, I just want you to speak to just one person out there. I know I've asked you to, allay the fears, or it could be practitioners, it could be parents. I just want, in 30 seconds, a word of advice.
So yeah, let me start by talking to practitioners first.
Okay.
We are sitting on time bomb, and very soon we'll be putting out training programs for doctors, for nurses, for pharmacists. And I want you to avail yourself the opportunity to be empowered to be able to treat people. And like I said, the same thing we're going to do for mothers and parents. And we're like a society that we form probably is advocacy, empowerment, prevention, and we're going to share some few tips about
Awesome.
what to do. So even if we look in that
Good.
space, we'll be able to empower parents and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. It's not rocket science. See, even the future of medicine is to empower the patient to be able to do what they need to do after the first consultation with your physician. And then with the advent of for telecom and platform like this, you can actually talk to the doctors online. So we are open to also to train people and to say this is what we need to do. And I believe we will get there. It's a slow step, one step at a time, but we'll get there.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, if our listeners want to reach you, how can they reach you? Your social media platforms, or how can they reach you?
Okay, well, I'm active on social media. I'm on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn, I'm just Olatunde Odusote. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram as T Odusote. I'm there, and on Facebook with my name, Olatunde Odusote. So I'm active on all those social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and IG. So I'm there.
Okay.
And that's also on IG. On IG, I think we're also on Facebook. So you can reach out to us and we'll be able to help and provide some counsel.
Wow. Awesome. You've heard it from him. Dr. Odusote is a practitioner, a medical doctor, and also a specialist in the area of allergy, particularly when it comes to the African continent. Is a leader in that space, and he's spoken to the areas of what needs to be done for practitioners and also parents, and also shared his details and contacts, and also he's also spoken about capacity building, because that's very important in terms of for people to be able to reach out to those who are knowledgeable in that field, because it can be quite challenging when you spend a lot of your resource, your ardent money seeking help from the wrong places. So I'm so honored, sir, to receive you on this podcast, and your thoughts are very deep, and I have no doubt that those who are going to be listening to the replay of this podcast will benefit to a large extent. So please feel free to reach out to Dr. Olatunde Odusote if you're a practitioner and if you're also a parent, so that you can get the proper advice. So just one more. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we end this session?
Well, I want to say, number one, thank you for what you're doing about leadership in Africa in this space. It's very heartwarming to see people passionate about building capacity across all strata of leadership. And it's commendable. I thank you for all you're doing for Africa and for this country. And I also want to say I'm honored to be part of this journey with you. It's something we need to do to raise the bar and to help our people. I appreciate you for inviting me, and it's been also encouraging for me earlier. Like I told you, I've learned some new tricks from you about platform. Maybe I need to also start a podcast for allergy, so I can share my thoughts.
Yeah, please feel free, because feel free. We were going through our analytics last week, and we pushed it out, and people listening to us in Canada, in Dubai, UAE, in the US, in Australia, in Hong Kong, in India, far-flung places, and it's really been a pleasure adding value globally. We started, with just a few podcasts, but now this is the 87th podcast.
Wow.
And you'd be amazed at the reach also of this discussion, and the people that will be listening, because people are looking for solutions, they're looking for knowledge, they want something fresh, something challenging, something that would solve their immediate challenges, or even be able to also help others. So thank you for creating the awareness, sir, and we appreciate you. And so once
Thank you very
again,
much for having me.
yes, thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another powerful session on leadership and allergic diseases in Africa. I've had the privilege and honor of hosting Dr. Olatunde Odusote. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay blessed and bye. You want to say bye-bye to the audience?
Thank you very much for having me. God bless you.
Yes, thank you. Wow.